Lotus Challenge was released for the PlayStation 2 in 2001, and this is a very unique style racer that focuses mainly around the Lotus brand of cars, with the game featuring up to 42 cars that span different eras within the company's history. Anything from the likes of the 1960s era, 50s, even all the way up to the 80s, 90s, and even to the more modern examples that were relatively new at that time. With the cars that are available in the game, not all can be accessed at the start once you begin playing. Even with the different game modes that are on offer, you have different challenge modes and a championship, and you do have access to a multiplayer mode. But in order to access all of the cars, you will need to win races and complete all of the additional challenges and championships that the game has to offer. But when you do, you will have an eclectic mix of various different vehicles, all from within the history of Lotus itself, from a load of classic style cars to more modern style sports cars and coupes that are very iconic and well known. Anything from the Lotus Esprit to the Lotus Elise, even to other type of examples with modern style like hatchbacks and other custom coupes. Each of the tracks that you do race on also do have their own unique elements to them, as well as they can be quite difficult to master depending on the car that you choose to race on. Each car in the game has its own individual customized handling physics and characteristics, and some will definitely take a bit more to get used to than others, while some other cars are easier to pick up and play. It really just all depends on your own skill set and your own preferences as the player. Now, the races themselves, when you're going through the modes, some races you play on, laps can be as little as 2 laps, or in more cases in the championships you will have to go through various different qualifying sessions, and the laps themselves on the actual races can go anywhere from between 3 laps to 6 laps, even higher. So some races can take quite a while to finish, and in some cases can be quite difficult to master depending on the car that you're using, because you want to make sure that you try to keep the car on the track at all times, and that goes back even to the handling physics of a lot of the cars. Some cars are a lot easier to use than others, while some cars can be quite sluggish in terms of the turning radius of each of the vehicles, especially when turning corners, as you will have to slow down well in advance to be able to take a corner at any sort of relevant speed, and you also have to be mindful that you don't slide off and go into a wall. But some of the unique cool features that are also added into the game, as it does have different customizable effects, and even in terms of the weather mechanics, like you can race at different periods throughout the day, from sunny type environments to like morning, even evening, where you can race in dull environments, and even in storms where you have rain and snow. And you can race anything from like normal race tracks even onto like the city streets, even within London or even like Paris, and in different areas around the world. And one of the main aspects of the game, and one of its probably its best features, is the realistic damage physics of the game. So when you crash or you hit other opponents, you can see the visible damage in real time, and the more you damage the car throughout the race, the more it begins to affect the handling, to a point that the car can stop working if it takes too much damage. So you do have to be mindful to take care of your car throughout the races, just to not go crazy and try to drive super fast. You really have to think with a certain sense of strategy throughout each of the races, and again it goes back to the handling physics of each of the cars, because each car is different. So you do need to adjust your gameplay style in order to try and win races, as it can be the definition between racing or being taken out of the equation altogether. So even though it does have some unique and fun elements that are kind of like arcade focused, but there is more simulation elements in this game, so you do have to be able to adapt your gameplay style to suit the situation that you're in. Overall, it's not the best racing game on the PlayStation 2, but it definitely is worthwhile playthrough, especially if you're a fan of the Lotus brand, as you will gain access to a lot of very unique cars that for most cases you would probably have never even heard of. Especially if you're interested in understanding the history of Lotus, you'll be well educated with the background story of all the cars that were released within the time frame up until this game was released, and you'll get to race a lot of those examples in the game itself. So that in itself is worthwhile having a look, especially if you are a fan of cars and even classic cars. That alone itself is worthwhile having a look. And I would love to know your thoughts of Lotus Challenge for the PlayStation 2, if you have played it yourself back in the day, and if so, what did you think of it? Did you enjoy it, or maybe not so much? I'd love to hear what stories you have to share of the game, so be sure to share them down in the comments below. And if you have enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more content around similar racing games like this that are very unique, where I do share my thoughts and experiences with everyone, then be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to be updated when future videos videos are released. And if you'd like to see more videos on more of these unique and quirky racing games released on the PS2, then be sure to check out the playlist below here on the screen to find out more about those games. So make sure to go and check those videos out, and I will see you all over in the next one.